5 times the world came within a hair's breadth of nuclear catastrophe, and most people have never heard of them. Let's count down. Number 5, January 24th, 1961. A B-52 bomber is flying over Goldsboro, North Carolina, carrying 2 Mark 39 hydrogen bombs. Each one is hundreds of times more powerful than Hiroshima. Then, disaster strikes. The plane breaks apart in midair. As it tumbles, both bombs fall free. One deploys its parachute and drifts down. The other slams into the ground at full speed. Here's the terrifying part. When investigators examined the bombs, they discovered that multiple safety devices had failed during the crash. On one bomb, 3 of 4 arming mechanisms had activated. Only a single, low-voltage arm safe switch stood between North Carolina and a 3.8 megaton explosion. One tiny switch. That's how close we came. Number 4. January 17th, 1966. High above the village of Palomares, Spain, a B-52 is refueling in midair from a tanker plane. Something goes wrong. The 2 aircraft collide and explode. 4 hydrogen bombs tumble toward the Earth. 3 land on Spanish soil. On 2 of them, the conventional explosives detonate on impact. They didn't trigger a nuclear blast, but they scattered plutonium across the farmland. The 4th bomb vanished into the Mediterranean Sea. It took 80 days, a deep-sea submarine, and the entire U.S. Navy to find it. The cleanup of contaminated soil continues to be a political headache to this very day. Number 3. January 21st, 1968. Greenland, the frozen Arctic. A B-52 on patrol near Thule Air Base catches fire in the cockpit. The crew bails out and the bomber crashes onto the sea ice, carrying 4 thermonuclear bombs. The conventional explosives detonate, shattering the weapons and spraying radioactive debris across the ice. Teams worked in brutal Arctic cold for months, scooping up contaminated ice in an operation called Project Crested Ice. And it got worse. The crash revealed that the United States had been flying nuclear weapons over Denmark, which had banned them. A diplomatic firestorm followed. Decades later, scientists still find traces of plutonium in the surrounding environment. But here's where it gets even scarier. Because the next 2 near misses weren't accidents. They were moments where a single human being decided whether the world would end. Number 2. October 27th, 1962. The Cuban Missile Crisis is at its absolute peak. Deep beneath the Caribbean, a Soviet submarine called B-59 is hiding. American destroyers are dropping depth charges to force it to surface. Inside, conditions are unbearable. Temperatures soar. Carbon dioxide rises. The crew is exhausted and terrified. They've had no contact with Moscow for days. The captain becomes convinced that war has already begun. And B-59 is carrying a secret, a nuclear torpedo as powerful as the Hiroshima bomb. The captain orders it readied to fire. But launching required the agreement of 3 senior officers. 2 said yes. One man, Vasili Arkhipov, said no. He refused. He argued they should surface and contact Moscow first. His single refusal stopped a nuclear torpedo from launching, which could have triggered all-out nuclear war. One man, one word: no. And finally, number 1. September 26th, 1983. Just past midnight, in a secret bunker near Moscow, Soviet officer Stanislav Petrov is on duty. Suddenly, alarms scream. The early warning satellite system reports a missile launched from the United States. Then another, and another. 5 American missiles, apparently incoming. Petrov's job is simple. Report it up the chain so the Soviet Union can launch a retaliatory strike. The clock is ticking, but something feels wrong. Why would America start a war with only 5 missiles? A real attack would be hundreds. Trusting his gut over the computers, Petrov declared it a false alarm. And he was right. Sunlight reflecting off high clouds had fooled the satellites. Had Petrov pushed that button, the response could have ended civilization. These 5 stories share something chilling. Sometimes it was a tiny switch, sometimes pure luck, and sometimes the only thing standing between us and the end of the world was one person choosing to think twice. The next time someone says nuclear war could never happen by accident, remember these 5 times we barely avoided it.